Who here considers themselves stakeholders in parks recreation? Yeah, some hands. I want to boil this down and see if more hands go up. Being a stakeholder means that you care. And it also means that you represent some interest. I don't like to say some, an important interest that you came out today, and that you may even go forward from this meeting and tell people who also have that interest and that care. So now let's check in. Who here is a stakeholder in Parks and Recreation? On the island, open space planning too. Super, and trails, right? So I probably, most hands have probably done that by now, yeah. Anyway, let me do the introduction. I'm Max Keogh. I'm a long-range planner and I'm the district's planner. It's a privilege to work for Bainbridge Island Metropolitan Park and Recreation District. I get to work alongside really great people, some of whom are tremendous volunteers. First, would recognize two of our district commissioners who volunteered their time to be on a leadership committee meeting every week about this process and seeing how to make it work well. So we have Commissioner Don Chanel. Thank you in the back. I get a lot know her, and Jay Kinney. Both are commissioners with a leadership role, yeah, on this project. We also have other commissioners in the room, and I want to point them out and do it this year. Thank you, Ken. I don't think I'm missing one, or we have five, but let me just tell you something about that commission. They just recently, well, we have the leadership folks meeting every week. The commission itself met recently and approved a community survey. And that's a really important part of what we're doing right now too. And that community survey is getting out among the community, and it'll soon be available on our webpage, but we'll leave you with more information about that at the end. I hope I've introduced the elected officials. We also have staff expertise and leadership in the room. So Executive Director Dan Cameron is here, and Assistant Executive Director Amy Svensson. And that side, we also know have an IT director here, and here's a recreation director, that's Madison Collins, Sky Carlson, and David Harry, right? Very good. And Amy, pointing out Julie is here. Thank you, Julie, helping represent the park management, and Emily, thank you for helping very much with community relations and getting this together. So awesome. Finally, an acknowledgement is to the Parks and Trails Foundation. One of our partners, we're very pleased to have their support in our meetings, and including the refreshments that we have. And since today we have, and our main purpose is to engage with you with some activity, we might need a little sugar. Keep us going. It's an hour, really a half-hour presentation, but we really hope you can stick around and join us for activities. We're going to be looking at two good challenges to share with you. So that'll follow the presentation. Okay, that's largely what I have to say. But lastly, you've got the critical point is to engage with you. We have a professional firm with us who are experts in public participation, and really they are the ones who are presenting large materials tonight and making sure that this process is not necessarily run by a staff planner. It really is meant to be an open public process, and we have we have the framework consulting and their team to help run that community survey, take in results, and help report back everything that we hear. That's coming. You'll hear about how we are going to do the reporting back. But let me go ahead and turn it over to Hope. Hope and Sarah are here to help run our meeting, and Dan and I will jump in when we're needed.
Thanks, Matthew. I'm really happy to see everyone here to talk about parks. We're going to have a presentation, 20 or 30 minutes. There's going to be opportunities for you to participate, whether you're online or in person. We're going to do two breakout activities, one involving the maps that you see on the table, and then one that's a board game that we made to help us think about the parks budget. And then we'll do a share out and closing. So the goal of this meeting is to inform you about this planning process. So what are the outcomes you can expect in the planning process, and when will you have opportunities to provide feedback? We want to provide some overall background on the key challenges and opportunities that face the park district right now, and have conversations about what the park trails and open spaces mean to you, the roles that they're playing in your life, and then get feedback that will inform the deliverables of the project. So here I'm going to open, this is some polling that you can do. So you're going to scan a QR code, and if you don't want to do that, you can just yell things out. That's also totally fine, but if you want to scan this QR code, you can just input these numbers and then as you put your answers in, we'll see them on the screen, so so the first question we want to ask is what group or organization are you representing today? If you're not part of a group, that could be that you're a parent or a cyclist or a bird watcher, just something that describes how you interact with the parks.
Anybody closer to like that?
Yeah.
Gymnastics, no phone.
Ooh,
Alright.
nice. Okay, so someone from Bainbridge prepares, parent, neurodiverse, gymnastics, hiker. Some great gymnastics representation. Okay, some of the things are getting bigger because multiple people are identifying that way, parent, hiker, gymnastics. Tennis, cyclist, pool, interest. Got some more people typing. I don't know.
I think you can only submit one.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry for being so.
Polls are closed. Okay, we've got a few more people typing, but we'll move on in just a minute. Did not know there were gonna be so many gymnasts in the room. Yeah, plan for it, right? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and move us forward. It's another poll. So which of the following are you most interested in discussing today? Trail development and maintenance, access to and protection of natural areas, classes, events, and other park district programs, new facilities such as parks, fields, or indoor spaces, then park maintenance. There we go, okay.
Wow.
What's this last option?
David's the last name too. Okay, everyone's saying new facilities, are we wanting a new gymnastics facility? I'm hearing.
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and move on, and then, is there anything else you're excited to discuss today? I think I have to press it enter.
Is this a time frame service? Yeah. Yes. Figured out which manager got the Google's.
So playgrounds, gymnastics, basketball court. Volunteers as part of the budget solution. Sharing parks, events and opportunities are acceptable to all. Okay, we'll just give it 15 more seconds or so. Okay, so a little bit of background on this project. The comprehensive plan outlines goals for meeting resident needs for park trails, facilities and recreation. So it's the way of the park district saying, what do we have? What do people need? And then how can we accomplish that given current funding and potential new funding sources? These plans must be updated every 6 years in order for the park district to be eligible for state funding. This plan also serves as the park element for the city of Bainbridge Island. So it serves both of those purposes and looks 20 years in the future based on the Growth Management Act for the comprehensive planning process. We've outlined 3 main phases for the project: engagement, analysis, and planning. We're going to be engaging with the public throughout the entire process, but especially in the beginning, a really focused effort on hearing what's important to people, what do they envision for the future, and that really shaping the deliverables of the plan. So the project kicked off at Earth Day. We are at the second of 2 stakeholder meetings. June 21 is an open house where we'll talk about what we've heard at these stakeholder meetings and also what we heard in the survey. So this is a scientifically valid survey that's being sent to 5,000 households on Bainbridge Island. And once we have the data that we need from that, it'll be open to the public, so anyone who wants can complete that survey. And then throughout the summer, we'll be at additional events to let you know that the survey is available and to continue to get feedback. So analysis, so we look at inventory, measuring, how much land is there, what facilities are in the parks, what programs are available to folks. Looking at what we heard from the survey, what's important to people, what are they most hoping to get from parks and trails. And then creating a level of service, which is essentially an equation that says, are we meeting the needs of the island? And there's a lot of ways to measure that. Historically, it's measured in acres per 1,000 people, but that doesn't really get at what people want from their parks. So part of this planning process is meant to come up with a level of service that really encapsulates what people want from the parks, and then sets a target for how to accomplish that. So the planning process includes a list of capital projects and a funding plan. So what are the current sources of revenue and what are potentially new ways to bring in funds? And then you'll have the opportunity to look through the whole draft plan and provide feedback. We use an online tool called Combio where you can make lots of comments on the plan before it's adopted in February. Okay, now another poll. So this is actually a bit of a quiz. We want to know what you think the Bainbridge Island Metropolitan Park and Recreation District is. Is it part of Bainbridge Island city government? Is it a nonprofit that provides parks and recreation? Or is it an independent agency that is not part of city government? I don't know. Is it working?
Yeah. We can't take it, I can't get to that at all.
Oh, there we go. Okay, I just had to click to get the results. Okay. So. Yeah, okay. 85% of people are correct. It's an independent agency that's not part of city government. But as we said, this plan will also serve as the park element for the City of Bainbridge Island's comprehensive plan. Okay, this is sort of just kind of how you envision the role of the park district. So what do you think that it is the responsibility of the park district to provide? What do you see as, the mission of the park district? Keeping our gymnast equipment up to date. Preservation of open spaces, recreational opportunities for the public. Okay, I'm gonna just go ahead and move on. And I'm gonna pass it to Dan, who's gonna tell us all about what the park district does.
You're not giving us enough
Yeah,
time.
sorry.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
Like, you really don't want the.
Oh, no.
Oh, no,
Please.
Hey, you're welcome to write it on a comment card.
we can go back, okay, let's continue looking.
Great.
Okay,
Listen to Dan for a second.
It's just the existential
Yeah.
of sitting here in silence by myself.
Yeah.
all right, yeah, you can continue to put comments up there, if you'd like, or, and,
No, when you click forward, we lose access.
Okay, we'll just.
all right,
pause.
just leave it up there while I cover this one. Well, we do quite a bit, including gymnastics. Thank you for coming, by the way. We're more than just parks and mowing and open space. We have a lot of recreational facilities. The Bainbridge Island Rec Center, the aquatic center that you're in right now. We have several halls that we rent out for a variety of different uses. Of course, all our sports fields, our trails. We have almost 50 miles of trails now that are maintained with volunteers and staff. We have programs, activities, events that we offer. how many of you have been to the haunted hayride?
Hey.
Wow, the rest of you need to go. Yeah, that's right. You gotta get the tickets before they're sold out. Our summer concert series, teen dances, just a variety of things. We've done Winter Wonderland in the past, and a mega hunt. So we're always looking to change things around. Now we're doing the Earth Day event. A great active team that takes care of all of that for us. We've launched into since the last lid lift, since the support of the community provided us with more funds through the lid lift levy. We added a natural resource department that puts us working with our partners at the Land Trust and providing better conservation on our properties with that are forested. We also included a lot of more inclusive access in our parks, especially with some of our playgrounds. We've added accessible paths and places for people to attend our concert series. We're currently doing an ADA transition plan, which will help us set priorities for increasing accessibility across the district as well. And the next slide, we're ready to move on, is a graphic that demonstrates, how we're broken up by our mission. We have, our operations with things we have to take care of. We have our recreation programming that is quite extensive. We're constantly looking to improve what we have, and of course, expanding our opportunities into areas of underserved areas on the island or areas of need that we don't provide currently. We do not do this alone. We have several partners, 4 of which are up here on the screen. Our Parks and Trails Foundation, again, thank you for providing the refreshments this evening. They work with us on a ton of projects. They are instrumental in the trail connections that we're able to do. They're out there seeking those connections, getting easements, securing properties to link all of our public spaces together. Our conservation partners, the Land Trust, who are here as well. Thank you for coming. We work with them, and we've just successfully, with both of these partners, saved the Grand Forest East. So I'd like to give them a round of applause. That was a yeoman's effort, and we couldn't have done it without them. And then the school district, of course, we provide a lot of recreational programming in school facilities, including gymnastics. So they are a key partner of ours, and we work hand in hand with them to provide our facilities to them and vice versa to us without charging the taxpayers. And I'll turn it back to you for the next question.
So Dan referenced a few projects that have been completed recently. Curious to know what have you seen in the last 20 years or so in Bainbridge Parks, Trails, and Open Space? What projects have you been excited to see completed? What have you noticed that's changed? So many more trails. Strawberry Hill Bike Park, yeah, huge project.
The dog park too.
Sorry,
Dog park.
the dog park expanded, right?
Additions to Gasm, or maybe too much emphasis on sports, not enough on nature, pool maintenance, student conservation corps doing great work, the troll. So we're just like maybe a conversation about emphasis on parks versus new recreation for kids, new tennis courts. Pickleball courts, yeah.
think we're ready to move on. I think we're ready to move on.
We're not about to, yeah.
That's okay.
We won't take credit for that.
Do you have a roundabout, a battle point?
That's a big move.
It's like roundabout.
Okay, we're definitely moving on. All right, so how do we grow as a system? We can buy land, obviously. We can develop within our existing parks. We have a lot of space to have growth just in that way. We can replace things that we have either in kind or with new facilities and amenities. And then, of course, our activities, events, and other programming is constantly evolving and trying to meet the needs of the community. In the next slide, this slide just demonstrates, the importance of this process and the importance of your participation. We had several planning processes that culminated in about 2019, which is right when this update happened the last time. And we identified a lot of needs, including what to do with the Ray Pool. Sakai had developed a plan for a bunch of infrastructure, included offices, included indoor recreation, trails, all kinds of things at that site, tennis courts. A bike park was part of that planning process. If you're hearing the things I'm saying, you realize we've accomplished a lot of those things. They just didn't happen at Sakai. We found ways to do it that was more fiscally responsible, that fit in better in other places, and obviously there were some opportunities that we took advantage of. But they were all identified and put into the last comp plan update. So it's important for us to understand what the community's needs are and wishes, so that we get into this next update, those types of activities that we can be looking for opportunities to bring those to the community. And this slide here just kind of shows you the growth over the last 20 years. This has been an amazing amount of property and community support, and working with our partners, the Land Trust and the Foundation for sure, the city through the open space bond, to bring all of these lands into the recreation area. So that's what we're looking for tonight, is just how do we continue to upgrade our amenities. You'll see the bike park is due to be finished sometime in July. COVID didn't slow us down. We built the Founders Courts, bought the Burke. Tons of things have happened. Trail expansion with the work that the foundation has done has just been phenomenal. The installation of art, the work with the by Bainbridge Island Japanese American Exclusion Memorial Association down in Pritchard, and of course the Troll. Thank you, Don. So just a ton of things that we've been doing, including expansion of our programs, and our concert series have grown. SCOCO, now with the neurodiverse session that we provide, has been very popular, and a lot of other agencies and cities around the state have been, well, in the nation now, have been very interested in talking to our folks that put that together. And then community event programming, we just, as I said, continually looking and listening to better ways to provide things for people to get out in the parks and do. I'll turn it over to Matt.
Thanks, Dan. I'm seeing one of our big challenges and opportunities, right? Our staff is incredible, and that asset has been expanded upon largely by doing more as possible, given the investment into the staff. Dan just brought up SOCO. That's a joint partnership, and it's something that's grown under our natural resources department. But it's because the staff and the investment was there. I'm not promoting the individuals. I'm saying that the community asset represented has been put to the expansion as opposed to hiring many new people. It's doing what they can do. So expansions include taking the scope and meeting the need with what we have. And I like that the slide brings up different areas of trying to figure out how to keep a balance. The maintenance and operations, when Dan was just talking about the expansion of the system, it comes with more maintenance and operation requirements. And so in that, you have to figure out, well, which area how do you then keep moving forward with the assets you have? You can expand them, but you have to do so obviously, and you guys know this, in a balanced way. I think we have a poll.
Okay, yeah, this is a quiz. So how many acres of parks, trails, and open space does the park district maintain? I feel like it'd be exciting if we had prizes. We should have. I feel like we should have brought something to throw out to the crowd. Okay, so it looks like a lot of people guessed it right, about 1,600 acres of parkland. Good job. Okay, how many staff members do you think are maintaining all that land? So, full-time and regular part-time employees. Oops. So 20% of you got it right, 59 folks who are working to maintain that land, run those programs. And develop all that in. Yeah, I think you're speaking.
Yeah, happy to. I was sort of alluding to this, like how do you do with what you have? And so this graphic is showing how the park district budget is broken down. And while it's hard to read all the details, I want to point out that what I was trying to get at before, it's really an investment in the staff that are here, and a majority of the funds, that pink and green, will speak to the park staff and the recreation staff. A lot of that staff, particularly the recreation, is bringing in revenue, so to say, meaning sometimes cutting even, right? And then other staff are being able to help leverage programs and maybe even grant dollars. But we do take a significant investment into our staff. The slide, and we'd love to engage you on our financial needs and present, how the district affords things with your tax-paying dollars. But this slide largely wants to communicate something really relevant to this room. The purple category is representing 0.6, really 6 cents of every dollar that we have in our budget can go into capital facilities. So it's not to take the air out of the balloon or whatever the excitement. We want to find grants and do what we can for capital facilities, but we want you to see the reality of the funds that come in to the district. And again, this is taxpayer funds that come in from what's really not a very dense population on Bainbridge. So the reality is the dollars that come in are being spent, but there isn't the excess that maybe some people might associate with, oh, you're taking property tax. There is no other tax program giving like a sales tax like sometimes a municipality would have. So this is our source, and we work on off that, and that really important point in comprehensive planning is we have to figure out, is there anything that should be sliding? Is there anything within our budget and in our priorities that suggest you need to do a little more focus in this area versus that? And realizing that if we are expanding the purple, other things get decreased, right? And these aren't just hard choices. There's not a right one. We wanted to show you that that's what we're confronting, and one of the main reasons we asked for priorities. Small categories on there, things like utilities, they still all they're real cost, right? And it's all part of visiting a place like this. And we are doing our best to spend this in a responsible way, and we want your feedback about that. But I think the next slide just speaks to the fact that we really are basing our budget off property taxes. Just want to really call out, though, how fortunate we are in Bainbridge Island that we have a community that comes forward and stakeholders who really step up with the foundation and also the land trust and say, how can we augment and how can we expand places like Strawberry Hill Park? It was recently expanded almost to twice its acreage through donations, honoring the Harashita family, but also giving the community opportunity. And we're excited about what we can do there and other places we can't do without donations. Just wanted to give you that reality check. I fight for grants, and I'm finding it quite hard
because people think you're an organized metropolitan park district, and we are. But I hope you've seen our budget and the realization with where we are today that our funding isn't. We have to face some hard choices ahead.
So we've got a couple activities for you, but just to kind of frame them of how we're hoping that you think about this conversation. So as Matthew was saying, knowing the limited resources available and the expansive facilities and programs that are currently being operated, how do you envision the park system growing and changing in the next 6 to 20 years? Should we focus on maintaining and improving what we have, developing new facilities, or investing in additional land? And then how can we put more resources into maintaining and expanding the parks and trails that we love? So we've got a couple activities. The first one is going to be involving the map that's on the tables. So for this one, we're going to be asking you to make notes on the map about assets, places you cherish, things that you really love about what's on the island. And then for the pink, it's opportunities, places that you'd like to see improved or transformed. For those who aren't currently at a table with a map, I'm going to ask you to go to a table that does have a map, and we can pull up some chairs so that we can do this activity at interest. And then I'm going to give us about 20 minutes, and then I'm going to ask us to share what we talked about.
What I have here is a Miro board where we have our 2 exercises laid out. And I was going to invite you all to join me if you would like to add sticky notes to this page. Hi, Annie. Thank you for joining. So the green stickies are for assets, and the pink ones are for opportunities. So if you would like to type on them and place them around the map, please do so. You can follow my cursor. That's where we're working right now. Please let me know if you have any questions. You can also unmute yourselves. Hi, Robin. Thanks for joining. So one of the things you can do is you can grab a sticky note and you can copy and paste it. So Control C, Control V, and then write on it. So let's see, a good asset, Fay Bainbridge campground. I'll just put that away. And you'll see in the left bar as well, there are a couple of different indicators. Oh, it looks like there's a new sticky on the board. Great. Yeah, sorry. The pink is opportunities. So places that you think that there could be extra connections or, for instance, new trail connections between existing pedestrian paths or new neighborhood parks, etc., in places where there may not be a lot of access to parks on the island, that kind of thing. Are there any facilities that you specifically think that need more maintenance? We're also curious about that. Right. Yes, I've played soccer on those fields, but it's been a few years. Right. So that's consistent. Are you referring to within the park up here in Fort Madison? Can I ask what about the transmitter building? So the second activity we have is a budgeting game. If you're kind of wrapped up, Annie, with adding Post-its, I'm not sure how it'll work doing this online, um, but I'm willing to try if you all are. So just type in the chat maybe, and we can attempt this if desired. So let's see, Joe, you're saying that the building is overstuffed. Okay, I see that now. Liability. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Got it. Okay, so I'm gonna try and share this with you all, and we'll see how we do. Okay, so the idea here is that we are working $6 to cover the parks budget. So you have some options with those $36. You can pay towards park operations, activities, events, and other programming, replacements, renovations, and upgrades, or new facilities and parks. In order to cover the existing cost of programming, you need to spend $2. In order to cover the existing cost of maintenance, $30. That's supposed to roughly represent how the existing budget is allocated. So I think maybe the best way to go about this is to suggest how you would like to use the either if you would like to take away money from maintenance or from programming, or how you would like to spend that additional $4 for new park facilities or deferred maintenance projects. And I think it may be easiest to just talk through that in the chat. So $36, how to distribute. And I apologize, my screen is now frozen, of course. Hi, Annie, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, great. I can hear
Yeah.
you. Yeah, we're having a bit of a report back. So yes, thank you. Thank you for understanding. It's a lot of different things going on at once. As far as your point, part of what we're working on doing is a needs assessment to figure out who's responsible for what type of programming. Part of the comprehensive plan is also assessing the entire island and what we're providing as Parks and Recreation in addition to just the Metropolitan Parks District. But are there specific things or overlaps that you see that you think need to be addressed?
Yeah, sometimes I just see like there's some sports that are, that there's a lot of other outlets that kids can do. So it's like, oh, well, maybe Parks Department doesn't need to put on their own specific
version of
things for if it's already being served by other, areas. I mean, like one is like soccer. We have multiple soccer clubs on the island that do provide recreational level, that provide select level. So it's like, I would love to see Parks Department, partner with instead of do like their own thing. That's one. And it's just, and so that's just one example, but it's just like, oh, we should use our resources, parks should use resources for other things that aren't being met in our community. And if there are things that are being met, then that's wonderful, right? And I love the parks, parks is great. It provides so many wonderful things for our community. But as you all are talking about budgeting, it's just one of those things that's like, oh, let's talk about where we can use our resources the best,
Yeah, absolutely. Do you feel like within your experience, there are specific gaps that you think the Parks District should be filling that they haven't been, or that has been neglected?
Sorry, I know. I think it's like all cutting out. So in my stage of life, I'm really focused on children.
Sure,
So I just want to make sure that, you know, we have enough for, and for everyone, right? But also
sure.
just access, you know, for kiddos. They're our next generation. Sometimes
Mhm.
I see it like, I love that there's pickleball, like that's great. And also let's make sure that we balance, right? So that just we
Mhm.
balance for everyone. So,
Okay.
and nature's great and it's wonderful. So thank you so much. I cannot stay for this whole
No,
meeting,
no
so I'm
worries.
just going to put a little note in the chat. I'm asking where else we can provide feedback or be more involved in these decision-making processes.
Okay, sounds great. Thanks so much, Annie.
Thank you.
Okay. And other folks who are online, feel free also to unmute yourself and provide any comments. I apologize that my screen is not allowing me to write comments directly, but I can take some notes. So as far as the survey goes, currently it's we are collecting responses for the statistically valid survey. So once that data collection is completed, then the survey will be opened up to the general public for responses. And then in addition to that, we will provide an opportunity for everyone to respond to the full draft document as we get closer to the final draft at the end of the year. New residential building is not a Parks and Rec responsibility. So feel free to keep writing responses into the chat. I'm going to actually unmute Hope again so that you can hear what people are discussing in the main room here.
That's amazing. And I would love to see more collaboration between the Parks Department and the schools. I think it would be so cool if each campus playfully adopted a specific park to take care of. And it was their sponsored park, where each campus on the island had a park that was theirs. And a lot of energy and time and collaboration went into helping maintain the park, maybe fundraise, maybe advertise, or, you know, what they want to see in it and upkeeping that. So those were some of our ideas. I'm gonna pass it over.
So a couple other ones that we talked about in just full acknowledgement. do work with Bainbridge repairs, so I'm gonna talk about preparedness that we're very interested in the Strawberry Tower, the Comcast building that provided and using that tower for emergency communication, distribution of information to the public and disasters and things like that. It's also a facility space that we can use to do STEM education on technology and radios and disasters and other things like amateur radio. There's a very large population of that on the island. So using the existing space, someone made a comment about using the space more efficiently and diverse. One of the things I thought about that I don't think it's ever been mentioned before, but it's easier to partner with agencies that already exist and working on projects, although the paperwork might be more challenging, but that's easier to work with than finding new property. But I think it would be a great place for the young ladies who want a gymnastic facility is rebuild a new administration building for the school district on the bottom floor and the gymnastic center on the top floor. So that way they have a new gymnastic center. It's in the school area where they go to school already. So they can quickly get there. There's parking. It's next to this facility, but it can be managed by parks, but school district could use it for their offices, which they should probably have something more than an army barrack and have more efficiency space. And it could cost less because we're duplicating efforts and we're reducing duplication of efforts and increasing capacity. So being smart in how we use the space and the limited space we have, but increasing the capacity. And I think a 2-story building wouldn't look too bad, especially if it has windows of people flying in circles, doing somersaults and backflips that you can look at. But it's using that. How do we use the spots for more than one thing or two things? How can we get advantages of that in all the facility spaces as well as the places that are limited?
Okay, thanks for all that feedback. The next part is gonna be a little scary for me personally, because I'm gonna explain how to play a board game to all of you. So really appreciate your patience through this. So there's a game board on your table if you slide it off. It works best if there's 6 people at the table, but I know people probably don't want to move. You've all become such good friends, so no worries. Okay, so what's cool about this game is that we're gonna think about how we want to spend the park district budget. Okay, so So I think you'll have someone at your table that's gonna help walk you through this and all of this. Okay. What's on? So. Money.
Sarah, so I'm we're actually not something else.
Here is that this one side has been front line, based on the market calculation. We translate it to this. And so on the shirt, you have to put aside how much you want to put into like so based on
Yeah.
so we want to get your stocks we get to keep what we have. Essentially, we don't have to like and then if you want to buy and roll dice.
Right.
Yeah, but that would be great. I said. So
validating because we might cause another thing. If you're like, so exactly you want to do together. It's the yellow kind of signature that but because I really appreciate there it is. So we're gonna have time. It's actually probably
I'm trying to talk about that in just a second. Okay, so if you want it, you really want to work on it, but then you say, oh, I want to partner with that. Now you get $50. Or you can say, you know what, I think guys, that costs $2. But not one, of course not, right? So now you have one. Just add it, This is the game. Alright, let's go it all in on operation. Okay, great. No, that's okay, that's part of the discussion. Okay, we're gonna say 5 more minutes and then we're gonna ask each table to share out. Okay, so this is all reports, right? We took it from all, we really took questions and asked. We don't know what we're gonna, right? Here's how we